All right. What's up, everybody, on this Labor Day holiday that's coming to an end? Kind of sucks. Was looking for another couple of days. I don't know about you guys, but how's everybody doing? What's up, Star Wars Marvel purist? Thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. I'm going to have a guest come in a second. We've got a little bit to catch up on. I have been I've stepped away a little bit for the last 2 weeks or so. We put out a couple of videos in the last few days, but other than that, I took a little bit of a break. Had a lot going on. I'm sure, just like everybody else, has different points in time where they have quite a bit going on in their lives, and if YouTube is not your primary source of income, or if it's not your job, then it's hard sometimes to be consistent with putting out as many videos as you see a lot of the content creators put out. I'm kind of in awe of some of the ones that put out the content that they do. It takes a lot of work, and so I definitely have respect for that. And so we've been kind of trying to get back in the saddle, and which we're gonna start doing here in the next couple of weeks. But I've got a couple things I want to cover tonight. Um, First and foremost, we haven't done a video on Ahsoka. And the one of the primary reasons is that I think the fandom is in such a place right now that there's a lot of division, and I think Lucasfilm. I don't know about how you all think, what all you think about it, but I think Lucasfilm maybe has made a mistake not putting out all the episodes at once for Ahsoka. I know they changed the times. What's up, Breezy's Comics? Um, I know I know Lucasfilm, they Disney Plus, they changed the time that the show comes out, so that's a little bit better for people in the states to watch it and have to watch not have to watch it at 2 in the morning. But I had thoughts and theories about, you know, one, the quality of the first few episodes, and then also where I think it was going, and then I got a little bit of a I'd say a tip that ended up being proven out. I got on a few people's channels that I think had some credibility, and got confirmed some of the things that I was hearing, and I was hearing quite a bit more. And so I've been staying off of doing any type of video or going into details about Ahsoka. I want to see the show finish the 8 episode run, and then I think we're going to do a rundown of what all we saw, because I think it's such a unique situation that you have a whole studio that is really on the line with this show. And um and so I don't know how, fair or unfair, when you put out one episode a week, or they put out the first two and then they put out the third one, and you have so much division around that. And with knowing what, or feeling pretty strongly that I know what's going to happen the next, roughly what's going to happen the next 5 episodes. um I really want to see how it all plays out on the screen, before I do any type of video where we really break it down. Because I think, what you're probably going to see is, you have people that are dug in, they're done with Star Wars. Then you have people that really like it, and that are enjoying it compared to some of the other series that have been put out. And then you have people that are 50-50. They don't know yet. They're going to stick with it, and see how it plays out. But they're very much, what's up, Mars needs Max? They're very much on the fence, and I'm going to be interested to see how those people that fall in the middle, where they come down on the show when they see how it all plays out. And initially I was reading into, quite a bit of stuff, and I'll just give you one example that I don't think spoils anything, because I'm not going to spoil anything, on the high likelihood that the information is accurate. I put a lot of, thought into the idea of the wolves, right? The name Merrick comes from Arthurian legend, and then you have Morgan. Morgan comes from Morgan Le Fay, and so I think at the end of the day, Dave Filoni just is drawing inspiration from Arthurian legend. That's all it is. It's no more than that. It's trying to find names that are catchy names, and it has some sort of symbolism, inspiration, and obviously he's inspired by the idea of the wolf, right? And so he's kind of put that into the show, and then you've got Morgan being, a person of magic, a night sister, right? That's kind of inspired by Morgan Le Fay and Arthurian legend, and so I think that's as far as Dave, I think, went with it. I think initially I thought there was more to it, but I don't now. And so, we're gonna see where it goes. There's some interesting things that I think are gonna play out. Um, Marcy's Max, let me put your chat on the screen because I want to address that. Um, it's lacking more content and drags on, needs more going on like Lucas used to do. That's the one thing that I'm a little surprised because Dave is followed George and George was his mentor, and any Star Wars fan knows that George was consistent on anything he ever did on set. Let me add somebody in here. What's up, Caleb?
What's up?
We're talking about. Thanks for joining. We're right in the middle of talking about Ahsoka and Star Wars, and I'm trying to be careful because I feel pretty strongly that I know the rest of the season. I had some information that I got, and to be honest, I didn't really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are very interesting, and some things could not play out well at all if they're not shot right.
Okay.
And then just to be straight up, I went on a stream the other day. I don't mind saying who it was. It was Jason Ward, making StarWars.net, Investment Bulletin, and I sent a question in trying to confirm something. Is a little bit of a bite, put a little bait in the water, and they confirmed it. And so that tells me that what I'm being told is accurate. And so I will say from what I think is going to happen based on what I'm told, I'm going to be interested in seeing how many people change their mind. You've got people that are dug in. It sucks. It's horrible. And then you got people that really, really like it and are probably going to like the rest of it. And then you got a lot of people in the middle that, like Marzi's Max says, he's 50-50 or, so, I'm going to be interested in seeing, there's things that you hear, but until you hear the dialogue on the screen and you see how it's shot, it's kind of like reminds me of Robert Meyer Burnett. He got the scripts for Secret Invasion and he really liked them. But what ended up happening was, they made changes and the way they shot it was very, very amateurish, and it ended up not being good at all. And so you have to be careful when you hear things that go, okay, this is what's going to happen. And you go, that sounds interesting. And then you see it and you go, man, looked like shit when it was shot, like,
yep.
What is that? Like, so I'm interested in where they're going to go with it. And, so, we'll see. Marcy's Max had a question I put on the screen. It's lacking more content, drags on, needs more going on. Lucas would always say on set, faster, more intense, right? Faster, more intense. And Star Wars was one of the first movies that cut scenes. If you watched from one scene to the next, the screen would swipe, right? It would swipe from the corner, and it made the pacing a lot faster. And you would think that Filoni, that would be one of the core things he would get. But that has not been the case with the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka. And I think Ahsoka so far, of the things that have worked for Ahsoka, which I think Balin has been fantastic.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Just like I think Luthen and Andor was fantastic. I think those are 2 characters that I hate to see that we're not going to be able to see much more of them because we know Luthen's not around when Luke joins us in A New Hope, and we know that obviously Ray Stevenson is gone.
Right.
So that sucks because those are great characters. But you would think that Filoni would get the pacing thing because that was a staple of George. Yeah, George did linear storytelling. I think that's true. And no, there were never any flashbacks in. Was there any flashbacks in the prequel trilogy? No, there was none in either of the 6 movies, was there?
Nope.
So flashbacks is a plot device that's almost like the writer telling you they're not confident. They're not confident in what they're doing. And to go back to the TV series Lost, that's when I started to realize that J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof were not as talented as people were touting them to be, because Lost completely, after like season 2 and The Hatch, they relied completely on flashbacks. And it's hard to do. I was not a fan of Game of Thrones when they did the flashback of Rhaegar. I know people wanted to see it. I didn't really care for it. But thanks, Caleb, for
Absolutely.
My first official super chat.
Real quick, I want to jump in. I just want to say, dude, you have been doing absolutely incredible. I've loved pretty much every video you've put out. There's some I haven't watched simply because I don't want certain spoilers to occur.
Right. Well, that's why we haven't done an Equalizer 3 video yet. We'll do one on Thursday.
I've been, since you hopped on X-Wing stream in like February, I've been right up there with you, watching everything. Super pumped for your success. One thing I want to say about Ahsoka. And I put this in my review. I wasn't gonna do a review. I was just gonna watch it, and I was gonna try to enjoy it. But they didn't need. They're not gonna get Ryan Kinnell and Matt Risman and Gary from the Right. They're not gonna get these hardcore. They know every single line, every single thing, OG trilogy guys. They're not going to get them back with this show. What they could have done is they could have gotten me back. They could have gotten X-Wing back. They could have gotten people who are, let's say, 25 to 45 years old, people who grew up listening to stories about going to see the original trilogy, people who watched the prequels in theaters, all that. They could have gotten them back by telling a good story and having us care. But their problem is they continue to ruin what is the coolest weapon in existence of cinema, the lightsaber, with more stabbing another person who just survives, and then having a second episode, which was far and away the better of the first two. The second episode was much better.
The pacing was better.
Then, and I'm going to get to the pacing in just a second. I wish I thought about that to put in the video. But then they give us this third episode, which was the entire purpose of the third episode was to do what's supposed to happen off screen and catch the characters up to where we are. I don't want to watch Ahsoka, Sabine, what's her name? The new Chancellor, Moff's going to kill me. I forgot her name.
You talking about Mon Mothma?
Yeah, Mon Mothma. I don't want to watch them catch up to me. That should happen off screen.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they had that Dave's sole claim to fame is I learned from the master. Okay, well, you sat there and took the phrases, I'm a really big fan of samurai and World War II was really cool, and said,
Right.
hey, let's dial this up to 11. And you gave me Japanese training, and then you gave me Messerschmitts and Stukas as the Empire or the bad guys fighters. Are you kidding me? But then the thing that annoys me the most, and I just realized this when when you highlighted Mars needs Max, it's lacking more content and drags on, needs more going on, like Lucas used to do. This whole thing, you remember writing an essay in like 9th grade and realizing, oh, I'm a little below the page count, and going,
Right.
oh, you know what I could do?
Yeah. You got 2,000 words and you're at 1,300.
Let's add some periods.
Right.
Or let's put some space and that'll increase. That's what they're doing. What Disney wants to do is they want their stuff to track. And so what they're doing is they're sitting there and saying, okay, how do we get something to track? Well, we need more minutes watched. Okay. Well, we've already put the skip to next episode button all the way at the end of the credits, back to where it goes from the credits to the foreign language credits. We've already done that, so we can't change that. We already put the skip recap 5 seconds into the recap, so we can't do that. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's put an additional 5 seconds per conversation in there.
Well, I'll tell you something right out of the gate that they should have done. They should have taken the end credit scene for those that have heard the music and seen the lines cutting across the different planets.
Yeah.
Knock out all the nonsense where they have it in a different language. That's crap. Change it and show the planet. And put that on the front of the show as the intro. Do something to get people popped. Like they're pumped for the beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing they should have done is they introduced us to Balin and Shin, and then they had Merrick, and they're doing all the tracking in all 3 episodes. Guy? And I'm like, what about hiring some mercenaries for that? What about hiring some bounty hunters? Like, bring in some characters that are under Shin and Balin, and because you're using Shin and Merrick already a lot, and
that's so we're intelligent people. We can kind of figure out where they're going. I would say we're probably smarter than the average viewer. The average viewer needs to know who's the bad guy. Okay, well, we've seen 3 people with red lightsabers. Who's the bad guy? Who should we root against?
RL, by the way, RL, we haven't discussed Equalizer 3 yet. We will in a second. I will not give any spoilers. I'm going to do a spoiler video in the next couple of days. I want to give some time for people to go see the movie, but we're going to get in that in just a second.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I'll get into that. I saw it this weekend, and so I got thoughts. Thank you, Breezies. Yeah, Star Wars Marvel Purist, same thing happened with Andor. The show had absolutely no political intrigue at all. The prequels did it much better. So did the EU prequel books. I was hesitant to do any videos on the first 3 episodes because the rest of the season, I'm very interested to see how it's going to play out based on what I know on paper. Obviously, I don't know. I haven't seen. I don't know how it was shot, what was edited out, what was changed. There's some things that I know I'm not going to like, and there's some things that could be very interesting that could lead. It's interesting because it could lead to a place Star Wars could go that could be interesting. Thank you, Nikki. We really appreciate it. We're just, it's funny. I was going through, for those that have channels and deal with all the monetization, it's a lot to kind of sift through. And I got to the member part of it, which I haven't set up yet. And the reason why I hadn't set it up is because we're only 100 videos in. We've only done 100 videos since we started our YouTube channel. And probably, 10 of those are shorts. So I want to have something that when you remember, I give stuff away anyway, which I'm going to do again tonight. So, by the way, when we talk about House of the Dragon, I'm going to give away an autograph card tonight.
Who are those?
So
I see Arya.
So let me put it on the screen here. So we've got.
Oh no, I don't.
The High Sparrow,
Hmm.
Jeffrey Price. So I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Autograph.
I honestly enjoyed watching him burn more than I would enjoy watching Joffrey die.
Robert Pugh, who is Craster.
Okay.
Who I believe that's how they're going to bring stuff in the North back. Craster's kids, babies. And then you've got Salador San.
The Prince of Pirates, right?
Yep. And that's a two-sided card. And then we've got the guy that's also in The Crown and Outlander, Tobias Menzies, Edmure Tully.
Okay.
So very good actor that's in a lot of stuff. Sometimes you get someone like Joseph Quinn, who was a small part in Game of Thrones. Nobody even knew it. And now he's a huge star because he was in Stranger Things with Eddie. And you get a card and you go, that's not a main actor, but it's worth more than you think it is. So I'm going to give away one of these tonight, one of these autograph cards tonight. And I may even give away the throne room, the McFarlane throne room box.
Did nobody win that last time?
Nope.
Okay.
Nobody went for it. They went for the I think the Leia stuff. But so Nikki says they cucked Edmure so hard.
Yeah.
Well, but so Ahsoka, it starts tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to lead into, and what I'll say is this season, this series is dependent upon episode 5 and episode 7. And you say, well, what's episode 7? Episode 7 is directed by Geeta Patel, who directed the best episode of House of the Dragon season 1. The best scene, in my opinion, in season 1 was in an episode directed by Geeta Patel, where Viserys had trouble climbing up the steps to the Iron Throne and his crown fell off, and Daemon held his brother, lifted the crown up, and put it on his head. Best scene of the season.
Improvised.
Best scene of the season. So she's a good director, and we'll see how much tampering that Lucasfilm does or doesn't with episode 7, because I believe that, that when you talk about penultimate episodes leading into a finale, I would make a strong case that the episodes that lead into a finale are as important as the finale, because they set the table for what's going to happen in the last episode of a season or show. And so, Nikki, it was, but what I'll say is go back and look at that. I mean, she did a great job directing that episode. And look, there's a lot of directors, there's a lot out there that would say that scene's not on the page and they would have cut it or they wouldn't do it.
Well, and then the question becomes, okay, so
but I know what you're saying. It was Matt Smith's idea.
Was the only improvisation that he'll go get the crown, or was the entirety improvised? So that's kind of where the directorship comes from, from improvisation.
Right. Star Wars Marvel Purist. There's 3 episodes of The Winter King. I believe I've seen 2. The second one is extremely violent.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second.
Extremely violent. I mean, they kill babies. People are assaulted. It's females graphically. I feel bad they didn't have the budget. You could tell they didn't have the budget that some of these other series have, because they definitely went the violence route in episode 2 of Winter King. Very violent. But it's one of those things where you see a scene and you go, man, this should be bigger, but there's 8 people on horses, and you're like, why isn't there 50 or 60?
Yeah.
And you can tell, because
then you think back to that time, And there would have been less people.
Yeah, it doesn't look right on the screen. You're used to seeing stuff, you know. So let me
I
let me go
like what
back to
Nikki said there.
let me
I
put
love
King.
the dinner scene so much. So I watched Gary's reviews after every episode except the final one. And he had Jane Theory on for the 8th episode. And
Right.
when she was talking about that dinner scene, and she had this idea that I actually really like, and it was that that the camera looks different during most of those scenes at the dinner table. And it's because it's how Viserys was wanting to see everything. And that when he's done for the night, the camera looks a little different. It's gotten like darker and a little wider. It's less like hopeful. So it's Viserys realizing the hopes that I have for this family are not going to happen. And I thought that was such a cool read in. And it's part of that headcanon that I think actually works. Do they? Oh my gosh.
You got to love Special Ray always comes in with a. I will say this. They don't toss. You're talking about Winter King. They don't toss any infants off cliffs, but he's holding a baby in his arms and stabs it to death.
Oh.
Right on screen. So pretty graphic. I mean, like, and that's why I think they just didn't have the budget. It's kind of sad because I think it could really have done well, but you could tell that it's smaller in scope than even Vikings. Even Vikings, when it came out, season 1 seemed bigger in scope than this. Even though I like the story, but yeah. So so Star Wars. I want to say something that I know people may disagree with this, and then we'll talk briefly about Equalizer. I know I heard a lot of people say Star Wars is dead. Star Wars is not dead. Star Wars exists in the mythos, and I do think that there's a challenge around younger kids growing up now that aren't growing up loving Star Wars. But I think what people are seeing is that Lucasfilm in its current form is dead. I don't think Star Wars is dead. I think that it needs new life, new management, new leadership. And I think my opinion is, how do you get younger people interested in Star Wars again? Like the original trilogy generation did. And the prequel trilogy, you talk about X-Wing and Star Wars Theory. Those are prequel guys. Like,
yeah,
they grew up with the prequels. And, I'm thankful for them because they've kept it. That was the next generation that kept Star Wars going and gave it oxygen to keep the train rolling. And so, who's this next generation that didn't grow up with the original trilogy or the prequels and didn't really go see the sequel trilogy? How are you going to get them back? And I believe that they need to quit doing TV shows on Disney Plus.
Yep.
I think they need to quit doing it. Finish the ones that are already done, be done with it. And I think they need to focus on 2 things. New leadership comes in, whatever that looks like. There's going to be all the speculation. That's fine. But they need to do 2 things. I did not get your super breezies. They need to do 2 things. They need to put all their guns towards the best video game they can put out. They need to hire the best to come in and is it up there? Okay, hold on. Let me look. I may have missed it. Breezies, I'm so sorry. I'm talking and moving fast and missing. See, this is my first.
You had it starred.
Yeah. So, Breezies, I really appreciate it. The Prince That Was Promised. Well, maybe we'll get more about the Prince That Was Promised in the new series around Jon Snow. You never know. Because that term, the Prince, was.
Don't say it.
It could have also been female. Just saying. I believe it's John.
6.5 seasons of the same thing. And that word has no gender in High Valyrian. bull.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I think they need to develop a kick-ass video game because kids are right now, my kids, and I know they don't represent all kids, but my two boys, they love anime and they can tell you about, Goku, and they do play Fortnite. They do a lot of the gaming stuff, but they don't care about some of the Star Wars games. Like I bought my son Jedi Survivor, and he played it a little bit. He played it a little bit, but not like he plays the other stuff. So they got to make a game that is a game that everybody's talking about. That when kids go to school and kids get online, they're all they're doing is talking about this game for 6 months. His special race. Thanks for the super chat. It's Caleb's
Spelled my
today. I've
name
never
wrong,
heard
but
of this
okay.
little thing. Yeah. Well, I'm talking over in special race, so I'll give him a mic in a second. They got to put out a kick-ass game that gets all the attention, right? That people go, you know what? I have nothing but great things to say about this game, and kids are playing it. And then they have to come out with a movie that sets a new table, that doesn't alienate the original trilogy fans, doesn't alienate the prequel fans, and doesn't alienate the people that went and saw the sequels, and tell a new story and bring in writers that know how to tell a story, that don't bring in identity politics, don't bring in agendas. Fans are too smart for that.
That have seen the stories.
Yeah, bring in someone who just like, and I know not everybody's a fan of Christopher Nolan, but this is just an example. Batman was not in a great place, and Christopher Nolan came in and totally changed it with Batman Begins. Totally changed it. And, a new idea, a new take on something. And so between the commitment to the video game and a movie, all their focus needs to be on that, not a trilogy movies, one movie. And
that's how this all started.
And like, because you're watching these TV series and you're like, it just doesn't, I don't know, man. I'm tired of the volume. I'm tired. Like when I watch things, you guys hear me talk about, and I'm about to talk about Equalizer 3 for just a minute. I want to see, you cannot convince me that it is more expensive to film on location than using the volume, because with the volume, the problems are that it's all pre-made, right? So you can't change things up. Where you're supposed to be standing and what the scene is supposed to be, you can't deviate from that. It's all set up on the volume. So, and yeah, Special Ray, you're right. The volume, I don't know that it's totally played out. I think it's a tool, but you can't use the volume, as a crutch for storytelling. The thing about going on location is you see the sunrise or the sunset or the light coming through the trees or whatever the setting is, and you adjust for that. You adjust where the camera's going to go. You can't do that in the volume. And so I don't like watching stuff where I immediately go, that's the volume. I can see it now. As soon as I see it, I get taken out of whatever I'm watching. So when I see things that are on location, I get excited about it. You guys see the videos I do about House of the Dragon. Every time I see a clip or a leak on location from Bourne Woods and they're doing the Battle of Rook's Rest, I get excited because it's all on location. And I know it's going to look great. I know it is. And so I think Star Wars, the original movie, yeah, they had special effects. Yeah, they had the model shop and the creature shop and all, but they went to Tunisia, and they when you see Luke in on Tatooine, I mean, they're on location filming. And, just they got to get back to that. They got to get back to not cutting corners and filming things, on the set in LA. I do want to, before we jump off of Star Wars and get into quickly about the Equalizer, I do want to show something, because for those that haven't seen this, Bespin posted this today, and I just want to show it to you guys. So I don't know who all is aware, but Star Wars Skeleton Crew, delayed to 2024. Additional series possibly delayed. So this is when did they post this? September 4th. So let me know if you guys, when I hit continue reading here, if you can still see the screen here.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Okay. So I'm going to skip past a lot of the fluff. So Skeleton Crew began filming the summer of 2022 and wrapped in January, February of this year. The planned release date was supposed to be around November, I think, of this year. And yeah, November, December. And now they're getting information, which Bespin's pretty damn reliable. So since then, the sources have informed me that Skeleton Crew has been delayed until an unknown time in 2024. One person that Bespin spoke with mentioned the series could be delayed by an entire year, looking at the end of 2024. So
who's gonna care?
Nobody at that point. And the other series planned for 2024, such as the Acolyte, the High Republic series.
I can't wait for the Acolyte. I'm actually I'm morbidly excited for this. It's
And
gonna be so I want to say it's gonna be bad, but there's part of me that's like, there's some good actors and actresses in that. Carrie-Anne Moss is a good actress. And I just have a hard time believing that she'd sign up for something that's dark. But of course, because Disney spends, 80% of their budget on volume and green screen and all that, she actually has no idea what the show's going to look like until it releases.
well, listen, after watching the interview, Echo Base and X-Wing and Nikki.
Oh,
and
I don't
Matt,
watch interviews. That's the
yeah,
thing.
the interview with the cast of Acolyte.
Yeah.
I don't have much interest in it, but I understand the appeal about the Sith. So he says the series he's heard, they're confident along with the second and final season of Andor could both suffer delays. So Andor was supposed to release August of 24, but now that release is now uncertain and likely delayed probably into 2025. So,
oh my gosh.
And then you have the
Real
Mandalorian
quick,
season.
Mr. Anderson, I did not see Matrix Revolutions, so I'm clear there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. He gets into Marvel here, which we won't
Mhm.
talk about. There. So I thought that was important to point out that we had Bob Iger come out in an interview recently and talk about they need to spend less and do less, right? They need to cut back. Now they've already spent the money on these shows, the majority of the money, but you still got to market them, and there's still post production, and some of these things are being filmed. Were being filmed when the writer strike and the actor strike kicked in. So there's still more money to be spent, and you wonder, how that's going to affect the overall quality of what's going to eventually come out. But Marzy's Max, thank you for the super chat. I agree, Sundowners. All the series are lacking story content. That's why all these agendas have become the center focus. Yeah, because you hire a team of people who don't give two shits about the content.
Ooh.
They don't. That's like The Witcher. They come in.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't respect the audience. They don't respect the lore. They are not knowledgeable about it. So you think, well, if Dave Filoni's going to walk in, he's going to educate people, but he didn't have time to spend with every single person on a writing team or story group to correct every single thing they do. So they say, well, you know what? I'm not a fan of original Star Wars. I didn't grow up with it, but I'm on this team and we're going to write this. And I think there needs to be this or that. And they bring in their own biases. Yep. And there's nobody there to check them at the door and say, hey, I understand you have a life experience. Everybody brings their own bag to the table, but this is the story. This is the treatment that we're running with. This is what we're doing. This is the history and the lore of this story, right? Star Wars and or Game of Thrones or Spider-Man or whatever it ends up being, The Witcher. And this is what we're going to do. And if you deviate from that, your stuff's not going to make it into the script. And so, who's mining the asylum? Well, we know that the leadership for some of these companies is they agree with them.
Yeah.
You know, they agree with the actors when the actors speak out and say things that you go, why is that person saying that? Like, they're going to cost that movie $100 million. Why is that writer saying this? Why is that producer saying this? Because they're part of the same ecosystem that all the way up the chain, they all agree with each other. There's nobody in the room that says, we might want to stay away from that. You know, we're deviating from what the core story is here. And there's nobody like that, because if they are, they're gone. And so if they're an actor that doesn't agree with it, they're fired, and that's public. And if there's someone behind the scenes, they're fired, and you don't know about it. And so, you know, but Marcy's Max, thank you for the support and the continually showing up for the channel. We really appreciate it. But yeah, so, you know, let me segue for just a second. Let me show Mr. Anderson real quick. I think they went to ISA once for a scene filming. Are you talking about
That was when we were talking about Acolyte.
Acolyte? They may. I was going to say they went to Iceland for Game of Thrones. They went to Norway for Empire Strikes Back. And like I said, that's just an example of, you know, if you're filming scenes that look a certain way and you want them to be expansive, yeah, you can put in special effects, you can do some matte painting, you can do all kinds of things. But being on location, you know it when you see it on screen.
Yep.
You know it. There's just a way that it's shot. And, you know, you look at the cinematographer, Fabian Wagner, on House of the Dragon and did a few episodes of Game of Thrones. You know, if you watch any interviews with Fabian Wagner, there's no substitute for being on location and being able to incorporate the elements into what becomes the shots. And so I think that Star Wars is missed on that in a lot of their series that they've done on Disney Plus. They've gotten away from that, and they think the volume is going to solve everything. And clearly it hasn't. It's made it look cheap, and people recognize that. So, but let's talk about the Equalizer 3 for a second. Now, Caleb, have you seen the movie yet?
I have not yet. No.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil
I actually
anything.
haven't seen any of them.
You haven't seen any of
the
the
not
movies?
Mostly just because, like, they're on my list. Stuff just keeps popping in front of them.
Wow,
I know. So the thing that really pushed it on the back burner the last couple of times was when I saw that they made a TV show with Queen Latifah, and I thought, well, I've already seen a clip and I know what he's playing, so clearly this is going to be agenda driven. And then I watched a video from you, let's say a month and a half ago, like right when I think it got announced, because it didn't get announced, or like there wasn't like big press coverage much. There wasn't a lot of time between like trailers and stuff and the release of the movie. So I think this video, I think you did a video like maybe a month and a half ago, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to watch it.
Well,
so
listen,
it's on my list. I've moved it up.
Equalizer 2 was okay. What's up, Star Wars dog? We got a Georgia Bulldog in the chat. I'm actually was booking a few trips. I try to catch about 4 or 5 SEC games, football games every year. So I'm going to Tennessee versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I'm going to do Auburn versus Vandy, and I've got a schedule. I might be going to Georgia, Florida, but that one's a little tricky. So
that's in Jacksonville.
Yeah. So
biggest cocktail party in the Southeast. You gotta come to Willie B and experience the Carolina game.
So I do want to say I want to say hello to Star Wars Dog, and then I want to answer Star Wars Marvel Purist. Going to see it tomorrow, Equalizer 3. Do rank this one over the second. I wasn't too impressed with the second one. Similarly, I like John Wick 4 over John Wick 3. I like this more than John Wick 4.
Oh.
I was not all that impressed with Equalizer 2. I thought it was falling into the trap of, okay, the first one was really good, and did they really know what to do on the second one? They were just kind of phoning it in, which I know some people love the Matrix Reloaded. That's the title of the second Matrix, right? Reloaded.
Yes, Revolution is the second one. Is the third
I
one.
I didn't like the second and third Matrix. I thought
So
they
I
had,
like the second and third one.
I wanted to see
I'm in the
more of the
minority
Matrix. I wanted to see them expand within the Matrix, not the real world as much. So, but this third one, so I don't want to give anything away. A couple things I want to say. One, it was very nice to walk into a theater, skip the majority of the trailers, and watch it. And when the credits roll, I'm out the door in like an hour and 35 minutes. Loved it.
Okay.
It was like, this is the movie, this is the story, and we're not doing end credit scenes. And
Okay, yeah.
you're in and out. And so it's Antoine Fuqua. If you like Training Day, the way he shoots this, the setting is really, really cool. He's Robert McCall, Denzel's character it's a little bit like Taken with Liam Neeson. It's the guy that's trying to, settle down, trying to kind of get past who he is, and he gets lured in, and when he does, he kills everybody. And I think this one was the best Equalizer of the three. It's definitely better than the second one. It's probably better than the third one. And the reason why I would people that follow our channel, it's as we grow, and we're still again a young channel and learning to grow an audience. But anybody that watches us, I would say, if you have a chance, I know sometimes going to the movie theater is a pain in the ass. People are on their phones, they're talking. You just wait for it to come out on streaming. Go see this movie. First of all, it's a male hero, kind of an anti-hero. You don't see a lot of stuff like this. I know we had John Wick, but those are the exceptions, not the rule. And this movie cost $80 million to make. And, it's I think it's a movie that needs support. It needs Denzel is one of the great living actors. I don't know why the people that run Lucasfilm or the people that run Marvel haven't gone to Denzel and created a really good character for him to do within their universes. Really stupid. Because can you imagine going to see, a movie that has an old Jedi, or even someone that playing like a Luthen character, that's played by Denzel. Like, I don't get it, because you've got so many good actors that could do that. And but Denzel's on top of his game. It's a little formulaic. So if you're looking to some gotcha or, it's not that. What you see is what you get. It's violent. It's beautifully shot. And I don't know if there'll be a fourth one, but you know what I would love to see? I would love to see the studios come together and them to do a crossover with John Wick and Robert McCall. That would be bad ass. Have some sort of storyline that intertwines. Mr. Anderson says, you mean you don't want Denzel as Magneto? No, because, I think that it would be like saying I want someone that's, white to play, Black Panther. Magneto, his story is his story, and who he is and how he looks. Why change? I don't like changing that. And I know.
Do you have it? Do you have it on the other shelf?
I do have the Magneto helmet.
Yeah, can we see it?
You can see it.
Purist, you're about to faint right now. Oh, that is so cool.
So, I don't know if you can see this, but there you go.
That is awesome, dude. Has Sterling seen it yet?
Sterling has seen it. We did 2 videos this week. We have a new arcade machine over there. So if you check out our video with Henry Cavill, the Highlander video, and you check out, this is what I'm saying, and I'm not saying you can't change characters that are white to make them black or white to be Latino or Asian. That's fine, but some characters you can't do it. Magneto's Holocaust origin cannot be changed. So, that's essential to who Magneto is. So, trying to use some modern day event as a comparison to Holocaust is disgusting. Well, if they want to do a character that maybe they say, well, this character dealt with the civil rights, it's like, okay, create a new character.
The question is going to become, when we get far enough in time, that it's not feasible anymore to have a character that went through the Holocaust, which is now 80 years ago, to having, or 78, to have, in 40 years, that won't be feasible because everyone will be aged out. So what do you do then? Luckily, we're not there yet. We don't really have to talk about that yet. But I'll definitely be interested to see what happens then.
Yeah, I'm really happy for, Equalizer 3 scores the second biggest Labor Day opening weekend with 42 million. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but
how much did it cost?
I think the budget was around 80 million.
Oh, I think this should, I mean, depending on whether or not the whole 3 times thing is accurate, I think this will make money.
So Blue Beetle is dead in the water. In the water. I think Blue Beetle, people made jokes in their videos, and Blue Beetle was a combination of, they couldn't get out and promote the movie due to the strike.
Right.
Warner Brothers has such a bad reputation around the DC universe, and they're relaunching everything, so people are confused. Is this part of the new DCU? Is this part of the old DC? Is this Elseworlds? What is this? Blue Beetle's not a main character. It's a third tier character. So they should have introduced Blue Beetle in a bigger movie with Batman or Superman or something else where he gets introduced, and then you do his own movie. They made a series of missteps that just set the movie up to just, I saw it. I thought it was fine.
Well, and what they should have done,
fine.
If what should have happened is Snyder should have somehow introduced the alien race that makes the Beetle. And that would have gotten I think that would have gotten a bunch of butts and seats.
Yeah.
Where how they introduced a majority of, I'm gonna call it semi-normies, to Blue Beetle was through Young Justice. And while Young Justice was successful in his first season, it tailed off in the second season, which is why he ultimately got canceled by Cartoon Network and then picked up by HBO Max. It's just not enough people watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, seen on Equalizer 3 here, going back to Equalizer 3, they did 42 million domestic, 26. So they're at 68,350.
Yeah, shoot.
They probably need to do 250.
I mean, I think that's has it released in all the countries?
I don't think so.
Well, we know China is not going to give them any money.
Yeah, it's what's funny though is let me stop sharing my screen. You know what's done well in China? It's Oppenheimer.
I wonder why.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
Talking about some people that hate some people.
So, Star Wars Marvel purists, and we'll come back and talk about Professor X and Magneto in just a second. I'm worried for X-Men 97. That is my co-host Sterling, who's not with us tonight. His wife is pregnant, and he's at home with her, and so he'll be back with us this week. But he is most looking forward to X-Men 97. Sterling is a huge X-Men fan. Mm-hmm. And you can't see, you'd have to watch our other videos until he comes in and we show the other camera. But we've got the Marvel Capcom 2 arcade machine over there. And then we've got some Wolverine collectibles, Fantastic Four, and then Magneto. So he's X-Men'd up over in his part of the studio. But X-Men 97 has been delayed. And so they were supposed to release it in late 2023, so maybe like in 2 months. and now they're saying spring of 24 for X-Men 97. So, I hope they don't. I don't think they're going to tamper with X-Men 97 too much. I think they have a lot of the same voice actors that have been playing the roles. So, we'll see. But
Also, the art I saw all looked the same. Maybe I've been looking at different art, but I thought it looked pretty similar to what we got in.
Yeah,
whenever we got that, I forget when we got that.
The first two castings for Professor X and Magneto are going to be hard to match. I mean, the trifecta, that'd be historic. Agree with, Fassbender should stay. Fassbender's awesome. Like, I don't know. I don't know with some of the choices he's made. He's got a new movie coming out directed by David Fincher that's in the vein of the Seven. If you guys remember the movie Seven that came out years ago.
Yeah.
David Fincher, he's got a movie called The Killer. And Fassbender looks really good in it. Like, I've always thought he was a great actor.
Fassbender has a scheduling problem because I don't know if you know this, but Fassbender has been trying to realize a dream of his for the last 9 years. And he has been trying to complete a 24 hours of Le Mans for the last 4 years. In order to do that, there's a bunch of steps you have to take. So he completed all those steps and then ran his first one 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Might be 2, might be 3, but I think it's 2. And did not finish.
Right.
And unfortunately this year he was like 3 hours from the finish line and they wrecked again. So he's been spending a lot of his time doing that. And so he's had to, kind of take a little less than A+ roles the last couple of years because of this thing he's trying to complete.
Right.
So I imagine we're going to start seeing him in some much higher class roles in the next year or two.
Yeah. Marcy's Max says, I really wish they'd brought in the X-Men for the Infinity Gauntlet arc for Avengers. That would have been epic for Infinity Wars. They had, I was talking to someone about this the other day. Is it? I don't know how you guys feel, but there's too many damn characters when they do these movies, the Avengers movies, or they try to bring everybody in, and so what happens is you end up having, like, if you would have brought in the X-Men with all the characters they had in there, you'd have had like your favorite X-Men character on screen for 60 seconds.
If that.
And then they put them on a poster and you go, oh, I wanted to see Gambit or Rogue or Wolverine. They're in it for 60 seconds. And, Captain Marvel,
another lawsuit.
Captain Marvel flies over them to defeat Thanos, and you got Wolverine looking at her going, man, what an amazing hero.
Don't do that to me.
So yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't put him in there, but that, look, I mean, we talk about Lucasfilm and Star Wars and what they have to get right, but Marvel's got to get X-Men right.
Yeah,
don't even put it out if you're going to deviate from the characters and I don't know, man. I think I'd rather them just leave it where it is, do X-Men 97. But I don't trust them. Oh yeah, that's a good point. They couldn't, Star Wars Marvel, they couldn't. Fox still owned them at the time. That's right.
That's right. Yeah,
that's right. They couldn't do it. You know what? They would have. If they could have, they would have. Because they put everybody else in those couple of movies.
We even saw Howard the Duck.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's like all those characters they put in those movies, and every time Robert Downey Jr. was on screen, he stole it. Like,
yep.
It was like, can we see more of this character in the arc and in less of some of the others? And Robert Downey Jr. and it only confirmed going to see Oppenheimer how great of an actor he is. But yeah, it's interesting that they what are they going to do now with X-Men? Certainly they've got I think they got their hands full with Secret Wars. I think they're having to revamp some stuff. They fired the Rick and Morty writers, and which I think happened a while ago, but it just kind of finally came out. And so I think they're revamping a lot of stuff around Secret Wars because I don't think that they thought that Quantum Mania was going to bomb like it did, and I think that really stunned them. I think they're trying to come up with a little bit of a plan B. But Star Wars Marvel Purist says agree. But so is Galactus, Celestials, Living Tribunal, and a bunch of OP characters that wouldn't have been realistic. Warlock and Surfer have been must though. I loved Silver Surfer back in the day. I was not a big comic book guy. I didn't go to the store and buy a lot of comics. I did the basics, some Spider-Man, some Superman, some Batman, but I didn't do a lot of the X-Men stuff. But I bought some of the stuff around Silver Surfer. I love Silver Surfer, and I don't think it's ever. Yeah. So he says, Star Wars Marvel Purist. Yeah, this is a good tagline, X them. Well, when Victoria Alonso was still at Disney Marvel, supposedly they were not allowed to say X-Men or mutants.
They were so dumb.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to say X-Men, so they
Mr. Anderson hits on a good point there. In his second to last thing, the one above that. X-Men's the kind of storyline that I feel like would work really well as a TV show. And if Disney Plus wasn't just putting out just hot dog water worth of TV shows, I'd say they should do that. But I don't want Disney Plus anywhere near the X-Men right now.
No, I don't trust it. If you're not going to do a movie, then just if you're not going to sell off Hulu, just combine Hulu with Disney Plus. They should have gone down the Hulu road to begin with. I don't trust them. These are things that have scale and scope, right? And I don't trust them with the storytelling. I don't trust them with the directors and the cinematography. I don't trust them with the casting. And I don't think I'm in the minority. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. But something that I do feel good about that I want to share with you guys is around House of the Dragon. And this is a good time to talk about the fact that for those that haven't seen some of the videos we've done, we've tried to keep you guys up to date as much as we can. There's some really good sites out there that on social media that have been on location and taken shots and some videos, some photos, images. Unbox PhD, we try to give them credit for everything that we show of theirs, and of course winnerscoming.net and Redeeming Intelligence. But House of the Dragon season 2 just wrapped on a spectacular battle scene for season 2, which is known as Rook's Rest.
Should be so good.
They filmed it in near Surrey, Bourne Woods. So says they spent around the same amount of time on this battle as the Game of Thrones cast and crew did on some of the bigger battles from that series, and those set new benchmarks for action on TV. So that tells you.
It's supposed to be during the day, so we'll be able to see it.
It will be daytime. It will be directed by Alan Taylor, not Miguel Sapochnik.
Well.
So, according to Redeeming Intelligence, just recently it marked the last day of location filming for House of the Dragon season 2, give or take a few pickup days. So they're done shooting on location. They're going back into the studio, and so this means they're close to being done with the season as far as principal photography. And so, we saw a lot of shots. I don't want to give too much away for people that haven't read the books, but we see Sir Kristen Cole, played by Fabian Frankel, and some of the scenes that were shot there, who has become the commander of the Kingsguard by this point in the story for King Aegon II. And so we will see dragons fighting. We will see people burned, people die, wounded, dragons dead. And it's a big, big, big battle. And so wanted to point this out. I'm not going to read all this, but on winteriscoming.net, they break down. So I will caution that if you read too much of this, you will get probably more spoilers than you want. And I'm not going to show it all. And but it's good news in terms of with the writer's strike and everything that we have going on. This is good news because this means that there's a lot of focus on House of the Dragon season 2 because there's not a lot of stuff being filmed right now. So they get principal photography done. All those resources will go into post-production. And so I think the initial thought was, how long is it going to take them to put out season 2? But I think that's been ratcheted up. So
you think we could actually get it a little earlier?
Yeah, I think so. What else are they doing?
That's
I
true.
guess here's the question. Are you assuming that the strike is over by the time we get to Christmas?
Honestly, so we're now a week and a half, 2 weeks into school here in the South. I imagine the rest of the country is about the same. I feel like kids are about to start showing up, asking for money. These parents are about to start saying, "Oh, I don't have any money." I think the majority of that voting base is about to start having to say, "Guys, we might need to start going back to the table."
Maybe, maybe not.
I
Marcy's
think
Max.
we're looking at a Thanksgiving time resolution.
Marcy's Max says, I think they'll resolve it in January. Well, if they resolve it in January, that will mean that House of the Dragon will have at least a month, if not 2, of post-production already well underway. And once they start working on the post-production, most of those people won't be pulled off of it. They'll they'll so I think it's good news for getting an earlier release for House of the Dragon season 2. We could get it. We could get it in. When did we get House of the Dragon season 1?
August. So, but all of Game of Thrones was March, April, May.
Right. I don't think we're getting House of the Dragon season 2 by March, April.
No, but I think we could have it midsummer.
Yeah, we can have it.
It could be a glorious Midsummer's Night Dream.
No, we could absolutely have House of the Dragon season 2 in like July, August.
Yeah, that would
happen. They're going to look at scheduling, right?
At when everything there's one other thing that's matching them. They're going to look at when Rings of Power season 2 comes out, and if it's far enough away that they don't want to wait, they'll release it. If it's close enough that they can wait, they'll wait.
They'll blow Rings of Power season 2 out of the water.
It'll be even worse.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, yesterday, it was either yesterday or Saturday, is the 1-year anniversary of the gloriousness that is Rings of Power.
Now, while we're talking about Game of Thrones, let's give some autograph cards away that are protected. So, all right, let's start with. Well, tell us first. We've got Mr. Anderson, Marcy's Max, Star Wars Marvel Purist. You guys tell me, who all's in chat, tell me if you're not a Game of Thrones fan, tell me that because, it kind of defeats the purpose. But tell me, Mr. Anderson, tell me you a Game of Thrones fan. House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. These are all Game of Thrones. So you let me know, and I'll move on to Mars Needs Max because I like to give stuff away. So, and while we're waiting on that, one final thing on Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is that I think HBO has to really look at based on the scheduling of season 2, once the strike is over in January, what does this do to the already greenlit series of A Knight's Tale, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Dunk and Egg? Do they roll back the budget for what they were going to spend on that due to everything that's been going on with a lot of the cutbacks? Do they stay firm in those commitments for what they've already greenlit? Because that's the only one they've officially greenlit.
So I think what you do is no one's been cast. So I think you probably just try to find more unknown actors than you were probably willing to find a really well-known actor for, let's say, the Targaryen that sides with Dunk. I don't want to give too much away.
Right.
Maybe you were willing to find a well-known actor for the little bit that we'll see of his of the night that he serves at the beginning of the story. But maybe you decide not to do that. Maybe you go, okay, well, we don't need to do that. People are going to watch it anyway.
Yeah, they've the Harry Potter franchise, they've got it. They've got to invest in that. That's a gold mine. No matter what anybody thinks, that's a gold mine.
It's absolutely a gold mine.
And they go, well, I don't want to see them replace Daniel Radcliffe and all that. Yeah, well, look, they're going to do Harry Potter reboot, so it's happening. And then you've got Last of Us. They're definitely going to do a season 2 there. That was pulling close to 30 million viewers. And keep in mind, I say the word viewers, not views. Lucasfilm,
right?
Trying to deceive people. Viewers. That is the closest thing you get to households, not views. Where King's Advisors clicks on Ahsoka, watches it for 5 minutes, comes back after dinner, turns it back on, watches it again, and it's 2 views.
Yep.
So, got to read the fine print. But and they've got to invest in Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones IP franchise. So I think they will commit to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And look, if they don't, then we will hear King's Landing and the bells ringing, and we will hear shame. So
is that it in the background?
Yeah.
Is that it? I hear it.
Yeah, that was shame.
There you go.
Yeah. But I've got some Star Wars stuff out there, so I'm going to wait till I do some reviews before I start hearing quotes when they start making excuses for low ratings, and I have Anakin saying, "Liar."
I've got a thing I've been working on for a while. I put a big break on it after Mando season 3, but now that Dave is at the forefront of the conversation for this, I think I'm going to pick it back up and try to finish it. I think it's pretty funny.
Well, so let's see. Jeffrey Price, High Sparrow. I'm going to give that away, so someone just needs to chime in. And then I've got Robert Pugh as Craster autograph. I'm going to give that away. And I'm going to give away Salador San autograph card. Giving that away. And Tobias Menzies, Edmure Tully. I'm giving that away. So when someone chimes in on chat and the first one to jump in, I'll start giving them away. You just got to say which ones you want. And you have to be in the States. You can't be like my friend Venger and be in the UK and I have to pay more than the cards.
How much did that cost?
What? To send to Venger?
Package out there, yeah. Was that like a huge amount?
190?
Holy crap.
But you know what? That was my bad because I didn't, I didn't know, so I'd committed to sending it to them, and if your word's not good, your word's not good. So,
I respect that. That is that is a pretty awesome thing to do.
Sometimes, it may take me a couple of weeks to get stuff shipped out if I'm out of town for work or I got a lot of stuff going on, but I usually ship everything out.
You're still ahead of X-Wing. X-Wing hasn't sent his membership out his membership stuff out from like
Now,
4 months ago. So
now one thing I do want to say is when we do create our membership option on the channel, anybody who's a member of any level, whatever, we're going to have, and we'll probably do something in the next week or two. If you check out some of our other videos, older ones, you'll see we wear some of the shirts.
you wore one last time.
Yeah, I have a Sundowners shirt that has our logo on it. So you'll get a Sundowners t-shirt. You just need to let me know what size when someone becomes a member. And we'll also have hoodies and hats. And so we're going to have some merch that we already have. I'll probably already have like 40 shirts sitting over there in large and extra large, but I know some people may need different sizes. So that's something that I haven't launched the members option yet because I want to make sure I have all that to where you can see visually what you get. What are you getting for becoming a member? Not just content. But so yeah, anyway, yeah, Marcy's Max, waiting for the Star Wars show. So, I'm sticking to my commitment that if Ahsoka is good,
Same thing.
if it's good, then I'm going to give away the Ahsoka hot toys in the box. I'm holding to that. And you know what? I will say this. I know it's been very divided the first 3 episodes, and I haven't really commented on it because we're going to need to see all 8 episodes. And then I think it'll be a little bit divided, but it'll be more clear than not whether it was the show ended up good or not. So we'll just have to see. From everything I know about the 8 episodes and what's coming is it all hinges on episode 5 and episode 7. So I'm going to say that again.
Which is terrible. Why would you make...
But hey, Caleb, go back and watch Mando season 2. And it was not that great till the last like 4 episodes.
But that's season 2.
Yeah. Well,
you're already invested.
I know. Listen, don't get me started on the.
I think, imagine.
I think they made a mistake as to how they introduced the characters because a lot of people didn't watch Rebels. They don't know who Hera is.
The whole thing should have been them going, we need to save Ezra. Screw the red tape, screw the bureaucracy. We don't care if Mon Mothma will give us the money to go. Screw it. Let's go save our friend. And then, whoa, Thrawn's back. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, but I think you cannot assume that people know who these characters are. When you tell a story, the story has to stand on its own and go, okay, they've introduced this character Hera. I didn't watch Rebels. I don't know who Hera is.
Especially when you put out a thing that says, what do you need to watch to understand the show Ahsoka? And you list 9 hours worth of content.
Oh, by the way, they introduced Jason in the last episode. Did they make any mention of Jason's father?
No.
So if you didn't watch Rebels, you're like, okay, there's this kid with green hair.
Yep.
But if
you love the fact that you get a green Twi'lek and a human, they make a baby, and the only thing that Twi'lek offers is the color of the kid's hair. It's the only physical characteristic.
Makes it easier to make a toy. Hey, so I think that they needed to write an introduction or a story that leads you in where you meet these characters and you're invested in them. You don't have to have everybody that goes, well, you kind of need to have watched Rebels. Well, then that's bad storytelling. Sorry. You like when you watch something and you go, well, what's great about this is you don't have to have watched these other 3 or 4 or 5 things. Well, that means it's written well. If something that stands on its own, then, go back and watch like some of the, there's not a lot of them, but some of the great sequels. Yeah. Go watch anything where you thought that the second movie was fantastic. Watch the second movie and tell me if it doesn't stand on its own.
Well, it's like the only thing, hey, you should have watched Rebels to understand this. The only thing this should be is why does Chopper talk like that? What's cool about the moment between Chopper and Hera where he's looking for the thing? That's the kind of thing where you can put these, we'll call them member berries, in the story for the people that have watched everything. But I, as a regular viewer, shouldn't have to have watched everything to understand the story.
Yeah, and you know, Varsity's Max talking about that's why I wasn't against them doing some filler background and would have added to the story and kept the episodes longer. The Jason thing may have been a misstep the first couple of episodes. I think it's important to know as early as possible, if you haven't seen Rebels, who this kid's father is. It's important. That's all I'll say. It's important. So you can't. It's almost like
what that means.
It's almost like you can't go to the end of something and go, oh, by the way, John knew Jason and Jason knew Caleb and Caleb knew. You throw all this stuff in and you go, wait a minute, they just completely rushed that at the very end. Like it's sloppy. And we've seen it. One thing I do want to talk about, we were covering House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones a minute ago. And I'm not going to spend any more than 60 seconds on this. I watched The Pod Generation this weekend, and it stars Emilia Clarke, and it's awful. Awful. And I watched Secret Invasion, as you all know, and I was very honest. It was awful. Secret Invasion is the worst thing I've seen on Disney Plus. I didn't really watch Willow past the first episode. I was laughing so hard. I was like, I can't just, Jonathan Kasdan's a complete moron. He's the only person that I just said he was a moron since I've started the channel. I can say that Kathy Kennedy's done some great things in her past, but it's time for a change. I think that's a reasonable argument without attacking the person personally. Jonathan Kasdan should not be anywhere near a writing job. So the movie Solo, Willow, just awful writing. So that was pretty bad, but I didn't finish that. I actually sat through Secret Invasion, and it was awful. And then the Pod Generation, just not good. And I'm wondering, because I'm a huge Emilia Clarke fan. Everybody knows that watches my channel. We're Game of Thrones fans. We cover it. I love Daenerys Targaryen as a character. I love Emilia Clarke. She needs to fire her agent. It's why she chose to do these two projects is beyond me. It's just awful. So I'm going to leave it at that. I watched it this weekend, and compared to going to see Equalizer 3, it was like, one was highly entertaining, one of the best things I've watched this year, and I don't say that lightly. And one was awful. So, but Caleb. So we've got Ahsoka coming out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 4. I think it's like 37 minutes or something. It's not long. And that's another thing. They're ripping the viewer off.
Oh, it's so annoying. Stick to what they need to start doing is they need to film the whole dang show and then say, okay, time to take scissors. Let's take a tape measure and cut the film in equal length.
Well, and let me go back again and point to Marcy's Mac's comment about that's why he wasn't against them doing filler background. When instead of just doing one story and go, we chopped it up. This has got to be 30 minutes. This is 50. This is 34. Do episodic television. If you're going to put it on TV, if it's streaming, do episodic television, and you go, you know what? We've got 45 minutes here, but we need it to be 56, 57, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do that, well, you know what? We need some more background on Hera, on Jason, and so it's there's no other way to say than they're ripping people off. So you're getting 8 episodes of this series on Disney Plus, where half of them are less than 40 minutes long. It's ridiculous. And then you turn around and go, you spent $200 million on it. They spent almost $48 to $50 million on Acolyte. before they rolled a camera.
I think I'm gonna give up my job as a lawyer and just go drive down Route 66 over to Hollywood, and I'm gonna try getting into the producer game because that's where the money is.
Now think about this: they spent almost $50 million before pre-production, before they rolled a camera on Acolyte, and $80 million was spent on the total film Equalizer 3. And how much do you think Acolyte's going to end up making for Disney versus
making?
Yeah, it won't be making anything, but
I think you got some high hopes over there, buddy.
Yeah, well, no, I don't. Not with Leslie Helen in charge, but
actually, you know what? I think I can't believe I'm going to say this. Oh my God. I think it's going to do really well. And it's because none of us are going to believe the other people. EBN's going to do a review Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, whenever it comes out. And none of us are going to believe them. It's going to be that bad. We're just not going to believe them. And we're going to go watch it. And then we're all going to do reviews. And no one's going to believe us.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen, actually.
It'll be like anything else. I'll have to see the trailer and decide if I'm not watching things anymore just because they put Lucasfilm in front of the logo. Willow taught me that. Willow taught me that. I
can't believe you watched Willow.
I watched one episode.
Oh, it looks so bad.
Yeah, I covered it either in a stream or in a video. I can't remember where I covered it, but that's the only time I really attacked somebody, and I felt bad doing it. But it's like we were a new channel, so what do I care? But Marcy's Max said they're ripping us off, and a lot of people are going to leave in October when the price goes up. Yeah, like, hey, here's our solution to losing millions of subscribers. Let's raise our pricing for the people that are still with us.
So the only reason I'm not leaving is because Disney Plus has done something that, as far as I know, only HBO Max has done. And I think it's a really smart thing, is they have provided us with the ability to pay for an annual subscription. So I have 3 other people on my account. They give me, $19 a year. And so I spend $19 a year on Disney.
Right.
So I don't really, what's my $19 going to do? Give them an hour or help pay for like a quarter of an hour of their DEI lecturer?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Marcy's Max says, well, they need to be doing longer seasons too. We should have 20 episodes per season for what we're paying. I don't get it. I don't get how you if you're going to do stuff on a set, you couldn't have had like some smaller sets built where we see Hera inside the interior of a ship with her son and talking about his father. You couldn't have had, something on Lothal with Sabine, that's, you don't have to be on location for all that. You could do these more intimate shots where you build the characters, the story in the background, and then people that didn't see Rebels or Clone Wars, they could say, look, I get who this is. And then you could take your time weaving into the story of what's ultimately going to happen, of where Thrawn is, where Ezra is, the world between worlds, and Balin and Shin with Morgan and Ahsoka. You can weave your way into that. It's like they jumped right into this thing in episode 1, even though people said it was slow, and it was because they stared at each other. But they jumped right into this thing, and I kept thinking, I know who Ahsoka is. I know who Sabine is. I know who these other characters are. But how is this show going to get the ratings that it needs outside of us to be able to do enough to give them a shot in the arm? There's shows that I don't like, but I'll go to talk about The Last of Us. Like, I didn't, it's not for me. I got burnt out on all the zombie stuff with The Walking Dead after seasons upon seasons of that stuff. So I didn't particularly enjoy The Last of Us, but The Last of Us got massive ratings, and they built the characters in a way that you felt like you knew who they were after a few episodes. So it was written very well, for what it was. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I saw how well that it was written, acted, produced. It didn't shock me that it ended up pulling in 30 million viewers by the end of the season. Didn't shock me at all. And then you see
Right.
something like House of the Dragon, you go, that's it's great. You watch the show on Hulu, The Bear, and I don't know what the budget on that is, but they build these characters up, and then the story evolves from the characters that you're learning about, and then the plot element or device that goes into that weaves its way in there, and next thing you know, you're 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes in, and you feel like you're invested in the story and the characters. And they not only don't do that on the Star Wars shows, but what shows on Disney Plus do they do that on at all?
They don't.
I mean, I sort of liked parts of Loki. It was a little weird, but I probably the best thing I've seen on Disney Plus is probably WandaVision.
So this is the thing about Loki that
It's the only thing I can
have.
think of.
How many of us have seen
Mando. I liked Mando
Yeah,
season 1
yeah.
and part of season 2.
How many of us have watched a parent or a loved one die? Probably quite a couple of us. And I think the success behind Loki was that driving force for us to want to see them forgive each other.
Yeah.
Because we got a little bit of that in Thor 2. I was away last weekend. I watched both Thor movies for the first time in a while. And there's that moment where Thor is so angry at Loki for lying and all this stuff that he's done, and all this stuff that he's hurt the family with. And they end up just having this like moment that's just kind of cathartic for anyone that has like a brother that they've been really angry with. It's kind of a prodigal son type story.
Right.
And I think that's why Loki season 1 did as well as it did, because we all sat there thinking we're going to get that moment where Thor's gonna see that his brother didn't die, that his brother's back. And I'm relatively sure we actually didn't get that, because I feel like I'm still waiting for that.
Well,
but I also don't really remember the show.
We talked about Star Wars a little bit tonight, or a lot, more than I normally do. Look at Mando season 1, the first episode. We've never seen Din Djarin before.
Yeah.
He shows up. He's a bounty hunter. I can take you in hot, or I can take you in cold.
Oh,
and
it's the
right
best
away,
dialogue that Disney Star Wars has had.
Right away, you go, it's a bounty hunter. We don't know what his moral compass is, but he'll kill you. He's got him in carbonite, which was super cool.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end of the first episode, he meets this little character, and you don't know what he's going to do, but you're like, okay, there's a dilemma, and how's he going to handle this? And the story starts from there, and then it becomes, it became a combination of several different things I've seen before. A little bit of Stranger in a Strange Land, Kung Fu, kind of the Wanderer type thing, and it worked. And
yeah.
then they saw the numbers, and now granted it was COVID, people were at home. It was the launch of Disney Plus. I get all that, but it still was well done. And then it was almost like somebody sat in a room and said, "Wait a minute, this is a big hit. How many of these toys have we made around this character? And what are y'all doing for season 2? No, you need to change that. You need to do that." It's almost like someone put their finger on it and said, "No, go this direction."
Mm-hmm.
And that's where story gets impacted. Star Wars dog. Daredevil and Punisher,
Ooh.
awesome.
Yep.
Listen, John Bernthal, The Punisher, amazing. I'm very concerned about the Daredevil Reborn, which, oh, by the way, has been pulled from the calendar.
Oh, yay!
It's been pulled. So
maybe they won't do it.
Let me show you. I didn't cover it, but I do want to.
I can live in hope.
Let me see.
Purist, you got to remember, Malekith was played by the great Christopher Eccleston with his giant ears.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So Marvel Studios planned live action series originally set to release in 2024, including Daredevil, Born Again, Ironheart, and Wonder Man, have all been indefinitely delayed.
Man, why would you make a TV show based on Wonder Man? Like, I liked the character, but I never thought he was a big name. And Purist is probably gonna cut me, but I just don't think he's capable of being a household name.
Yeah. Yeah, and
dude, bro, yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars. They listen. I'm not all that upset about Born Again. We got to meet the guy who plays Daredevil at the Nashville ICCC.
Oh, how was that?
Kingpin. Charlie Cox.
Yeah.
He was a little.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. I liked him, and there's two other roles.
Everybody has a bad day, so
yeah, he played a Duke in the first episode of Downton Abbey, and then he played a
yeah, he did, yeah,
he played an heir in the pilot for the Inspector Morse reboot, Inspector Lewis.
He wasn't in Boardwalk Empire, was he? What was he in? He was in something else. But yeah, we met him, but the highlight was meeting Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we took photos with him. You saw the photos, right?
Did you look at him and go 5, 5, 6?
Yeah,
full metal jacket.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not that upset that they're delaying Daredevil Born Again, like, because I don't trust them. And to see the Punisher on Netflix, and to make me believe that Disney and that Disney's going to do the Punisher correct and be faithful to who the Punisher is, I don't buy it.
Well, they're already getting rid of his skull.
Yeah, so it's so funny. Star Wars Dog, you sound just like Luke Bryant. Just had to throw that out there. So
I hope he's talking to you.
He is. I hear that, like, I have probably 20-something video calls a week for work, where if I'm not on site somewhere traveling, I'm on video. And I hear it on average once a week for the past few years.
How long ago was this thing with no, he was in Boardwalk Empires. He played Owen Slater.
Yeah, Boardwalk Empire. That's the first time I saw him. So, look, what we're seeing is Bob Iger said in the interview about a month ago, right? We're going to spend less. We're going to make less. And you got to wonder, like, a lot of these things that have been in development that they've announced, and they show up at these Comic Cons and they do these panels, and we're going to do this, and they bring people on stage at events. I think that's all up for grabs right now. Anybody that thinks that, oh, these 3 movies are going to be made or this series is going to be made, if they haven't already filmed it, man, it's all up for review at this point, because they're bleeding money. They're bleeding money. And I haven't checked the Disney stock.
Where's it at now?
It's after hours. It's $81.90.
Whoa.
That has got to be like a 9-year low, or is it worse than that?
It's how much?
$81.90.
I think that's like a 7-year low, which is still a long time.
Yeah, Disney stock 3 days ago after hitting a 9-year low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's they can't go out and be spending a lot of money on things that are not going to make money. And Marcy's Max has been a fan of all the Punisher stuff so far, but I don't trust Disney with it. Me neither. And I
Yeah.
love the Punisher. I
I don't know
love
why you would.
the first movie that had the wrestler Kevin Nash in it. Um, I love the series with Bernthal. Um, and I'm okay. Daredevil was fine. I didn't love Daredevil, but I liked it. It was fine. I really liked the scenes with Vincent, as Kingpin. Um, but Star Wars Marvel Purist says the problem is that they're distancing themselves from Netflix Daredevil. They're going to steer away from
Yep.
Frank Miller Daredevil, the best version ever, and the gravitate towards Mark Waid Daredevil, the worst. Yeah, like eh, to me, Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil was a great Daredevil.
Mhm.
I like the character. Not as much as I like the Punisher, but I like the character. I would say I liked the Luke Cage show. I did not like Iron Fist. Jessica Jones was okay. Didn't dislike
Iron
it.
Fist grew on me.
I didn't like it. I think I just didn't like the guy playing the character.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
You don't like Loras Tyrell?
I liked him in Game of Thrones. I love the fact that when they burned it, when he died, he got
Yeah.
killed by
And
wildfire.
one of the things that Jessica Jones had for it was right off the success. Well, maybe not right off, but it was very closely following the success of um David Tennant as the Doctor.
Yeah.
And he killed it as Kilgrave.
Marcin's Max says Ray Stevenson Warzone was in tune with the comics. He looked like the Punisher. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. Badass.
Yep.
And I do like the fact that on Ahsoka, he's wearing his outfit. Looks like a knight. I mean, everything about him is great in Ahsoka. Just he doesn't have to say a lot. Like just great, man. Great presence. Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad that he's gone. Really sad. But so
By the way, a
we'll hit
little bit of I don't know if you want to do any sad news tonight. The lead singer of Smash Mouth apparently
Oh
passed
yeah,
away this
I
afternoon.
saw that. Yeah. I saw them. I saw them back when they first hit. When they were doing, there was a lot of these
I can
bands.
honestly say I've never seen Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go to a lot of the festivals. You'd see like 10 bands playing.
Yeah.
And but was going to go to Guns N' Roses a few weeks ago in Nashville and decided against it. But I've seen Guns N' Roses in their heyday and then seen them when they got back together in the last couple of years. Not the same thing. But
Yeah, I saw I got to see Paul McCartney about 7 years ago. I paid like $250 for my ticket. I loved it. I thought it was great, but I was definitely the youngest person by probably about 20 or 30 years of that.
Yeah. Star Wars Marvel Pure says the Iron Fist actor sucked. I didn't mind the first season. Yeah, I watched the first season. I tried to stick with it. The girl was good in it. She showed up in Game of Thrones as one of the sea snakes. One of the sand snakes.
Okay.
Yeah, she was one of the girls from Dorne. And then what else has she been in? She's been in some other stuff. She's pretty good. She was much better than he was in Iron Fist, but
she definitely kept me in it.
Yes, Marcy Max says, "Is it just me, or does it seem like we've been losing a lot of famous people lately, especially younger people?" Yeah, look, I mean, it almost seems like it comes in waves, and people talk about that, and you think, well, people always say it comes in threes, and then you see it, and it's almost like the media is looking for when that first person dies, and then a second person, they're looking for that third.
Yeah.
So they'll end up finding someone who's maybe not as famous, and they'll lump them in, just to say, look, it comes in threes. But no,
nothing's ever going to beat, what was it, 2016? When like, yeah, careful, dog. We like Sundowners. nothing's ever going to beat that like 2016 year where I feel like it was a new, like really light, beloved person every like week.
Right. Yeah, it happens though. I mean, you become fans of musicians and sports figures, athletes, and people that are in your favorite TV shows or movies, and inevitably, it's like I mean, losing Carrie Fisher, just
Oh
crushing.
yeah.
You just you wanted to see her and Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford together one last time, and they couldn't even give us that.
There's no source material. You can't do that.
And then yeah, there's no source material. There's only a whole EU that they could.
No, it's not
I mean,
canon.
one scene with those three together for a few minutes, and everybody buys the 4K disc. Everybody watches it just to see. You and I talk, and you go, you know what's on TNT today? 5 years later, I'm just, man, that one scene is great. People would still be talking about it. But yeah, it's tough. But yeah, we lost the wrestler Bray Wyatt. We lost the wrestler Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And so it sucks, but it happens. So we've got Ahsoka Tuesday night, and I think we've got there's what we're seeing right now. The streaming is there's a lot of reality stuff that's being put out because they don't care to settle with the writers and the actors. And then we see AMC theaters, they're putting their middle finger up, saying, "Look, we've got a Taylor Swift concert movie that we're going to put out." And so
Yeah.
there's this back and forth going
deal.
on. Yeah. Yeah. And Marcy's Max, Anton Yelkin, he was the one where the car backed in and crushed him on his gate, right?
I thought he just like had some sort of sickness thing.
No, Marcy's Max, correct me. Is Anton Yelkin, didn't his vehicle back into him on the gate and crush him? And then the family sued? Yeah. Yeah. So that was a weird one. It was a car. It was his car. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was a vehicle that it crushed him up against the gate or something, and then the family, I think. Yeah, it was a really weird thing. Yeah, it was rough. And again, that's one of those that you hate to see him. He was, so good, young, and
What did he know?
But yeah, it's rough. But so we're gonna get a lot of reality stuff coming, and then we've got we've got sports right now, so we've got that we can hang our hats on. People can watch sports and have a good time and have a few drinks and go to the games. And to me, it's like, hey, if you feel like that with the strikes, there's not enough content, get out the 4K discs that you like to watch. Get out the movies that you grew up with and watch them again. Go find some stuff that maybe you didn't catch the first time that you've heard people talk about. Like if you never saw The Last Starfighter or you never watched the series Battlestar Galactica, the newer one that came out with Katie Sackhoff, you go watch something that maybe you missed the first time around, but you heard about it from one of the content creators you follow on YouTube or something you've just meant to watch, and go watch that. A lot of that stuff's going to has been restored on 4K. I just ordered the 4K Blu-ray disc for Weird Science. And then one last thing I want to mention is we're going to be recording on Wednesday with Robert Meyer Burnett. I was going to do a stream, but we're going to do a recording. And that way I can put in some clips and things as we talk about stuff that he wants to talk about around cinema and in the state of cinema and where we think it's going to go in the next 3 to 5 years, and how artificial intelligence is going to impact that, how gaming is going to impact that, and what entertainment is going to look like in 5 years and beyond, and what can be fixed and what can't, and so I think it's going to be better suited as a recorded video where we can have R&B on and have a dialogue, make it really efficient in terms of the editing, and put in some clips, and then if that gets a good result, then we'll be on do a stream. But that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna record that on Wednesday, and hopefully have that out by Friday. So I'm
Now,
gonna
is
let you
he
guys
coming over there, or is he going to do it from his studio?
virtual. Yeah, he's
Okay.
virtual. I am. I will say that we're in the fall. When we get to the new year and we get into spring and summer, God
Mhm.
willing, health and everything else, I do want to start talking about a meetup where
Absolutely.
we can do something in Tennessee, and kind of have a place that's close enough where people can go, where it's a good city that they can enjoy, um, some drinks and some food, and be around people that are. There's a lot of content creators that are within 2 or 3 states of where we are. Like a lot of,
It's
lot of
crazy, isn't it?
it really is. Yeah, and that's Kelly LeBrock. Hey, you can't beat Kelly LeBrock. Um, it's that's what I advise. Watch some of the old stuff. Go back and watch some of the old stuff. And there's some good series on right now. I haven't finished Foundation on Apple TV.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to finish season 2 of Good Omens. I'm not liking it as much as I liked the first season, but
It doesn't really seem to be a show that has legs.
yeah, I think it's we'll see. I'm going to finish it and see. But Wheel of Time, I'm trying to watch it. I'm just not feeling it. Not feeling it.
Honestly, I really want to do a normie thing. I know nothing about that story. I really want to watch it and
Well,
be
then
like,
maybe don't watch it then.
oh, okay.
It's just Reacher season 2. The Boys. The Boys is coming out.
Do we
new
have
season.
a date for Reacher season 2?
Reacher season 2 is December.
Okay.
And The
So
Boys,
I'm glad Martinez Max said that. Not the Reacher season 2 thing. I've been watching old stuff. So just a little quick shameless plug here. We've got a series of stuff called What We Love About. And it really focuses on the good stuff about things that we love about. So the first one's the movie Master Commander. The second
Right.
one's the movie's Cars. And then the third one is a video I did with Felicity Poubelle from Salty Inferno about the DC animated universe. And it's all this stuff, that's like 2007 and before. And it's just talking about like literally what we love about these stories that we all really enjoy. And maybe some people haven't seen and things like that. And I've got a new one coming out hopefully, but this week I got to figure out what it's going to be about. But it's just it's a chance to kind of get together and just talk about the good stuff.
And we have Spider-Man 2 coming out on PS5.
Oh yeah,
like this week? No, it's in October.
Well, yeah, I mean, y'all, your PlayStation people need to get a game you can play since you can't play Starfield.
I don't know enough. I've watched some of the stuff on Starfield.
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
like I get it. I get it. Being told to pick your pronouns at the beginning is dumb. But
I don't have any skin in the game. I haven't
don't
played
care.
it.
It's so fun. Like I'll be honest with you. I've sit here. I've got a draft on my left screen. I've got StreamYard open on my right, and I'm sitting here going, I really want to play Starfield.
Yeah.
Like I'm there's part of me that wants to call in sick tomorrow so I can play Starfield.
Well, look, Star Wars Dog jumped in. Star Wars Dog, you're not a Game of Thrones fan, are you? I know Marsden's Max. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys. I'll hit you guys up on direct message and see who. I'll give you some options for some stuff I can send out for attending the stream tonight. And Star Wars Dog hadn't seen it. I didn't think you had. I think maybe you'd said that on. We had another stream or another channel. You'd said that.
We're gonna fix that.
But it's good. It's good. You gotta. Hey, again, with all the other stuff coming up with the strike, Solid Snake. Thanks for jumping in. We've got about 5 minutes left. We're gonna be wrapping up. It's I always have to apologize because I talk about I'm gonna do a stream on this day or this day, and then something gets moved. It happens. We were gonna go last night, and I had 2 or 3 things pop up that I wasn't aware of, and then I was gonna be scrambling. And so, and then there were other streams going on, so I thought, let me just push it because I'm gonna be literally getting in front of my computer, like, right at the time to start, and it's kinda hard to do that, and make sure that you're gonna have video and audio and everything without issue. So, um, I pushed it, but I keep saying, and I feel like the boy who cried wolf, we're gonna get some consistency on the streaming at some point. The last few weeks have been just crazy, and we got a new puppy this weekend, so
Oh,
we've
what
been
kind?
a golden Labrador Retriever, so
Okay.
8 weeks old boy. So, um, just had a lot going on, and to be honest, too, last night I watched the LSU Florida State football game.
I'm
So
sorry.
I was
At least you didn't waste any time watching the Carolina North Carolina game.
no, I was happy with the result of the Florida State LSU game.
Oh, are you a Florida State fan? Or do you just hate LSU?
Do I?
Are you a Florida State fan or do you hate LSU?
No, I know. I like Mike Norvell. He used to coach at Memphis, and he got the Florida State job.
Okay.
I'm not a Brian Kelly fan. Actually,
Yeah,
I
I don't know a lot of people that are.
I just think I don't like Brian Kelly. I'm not a fan, and it's fun to watch him lose. So,
I 100% agree.
So Nikki, to answer your question, the new setup. So I was supposed to be finished today. We have 2 things left to do: to have the Death Star panels that will be added on the sides of the wall. They'll take about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to do. It has to do with the back part when you put in the LED lighting, and then we're done. The reason why I didn't get it done today is because we had Labor Day at my sister's family Labor Day outing, and then we had my littlest one. My son had a fantasy football league that I wasn't aware of, that his kids in his class had set up at someone's house, and they had a live draft. And so
It's so much fun.
I had to set up the league thing online, get the app downloaded, go to the house, and basically do the draft live. But so that was like, there were 2 things that went on today that I didn't realize were going to take like 5 hours. And so it's a good thing I saw Equalizer 3. I was originally going to see it today, and I snuck it in. I snuck it in before today. So I was glad I did because I wouldn't have caught it. But Star Wars Dog, what's my team? In college, I grew up, I'm a Notre Dame fan, but my dad was a huge Alabama fan. I'm not, I would say that, like, being from the South, I like the SEC. So the teams that I like Georgia, I like Alabama. And I would say I'm not a fan of Ole Miss. I'm not a fan of Tennessee, even though I live in Tennessee. And I'm not a fan of Brian Kelly. So right now I'm pulling against LSU just because I don't like him. But I root for the teams in the South. Like, if South Carolina's playing, somebody, I'll pull for them. If but and then that's it. I'm an SEC fan. I like watching SEC football, and then
It's real boy football right there.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, Nikki, I thought I was going to be done with them today. That the panels are sitting right outside my studio room. For those that don't know, that you could pull up on YouTube. There's several channels where they talk about how to make these Death Star panels. They have these lattices that you can buy on Wayfair. Yeah, Wayfair, and they and you have to put wood behind them. You nail them in, and then you sand it and you paint it, and then you put acrylic on the back, and then the LED lighting behind that, and then you either mount it, or there was a lot more that went into it because we had to measure down to where like the baseboards were on the floor. So my situation was a little different as opposed to just having it behind me, not really mounted anything or set up. So, but we got most of the stuff done this weekend, and we'll be done with it tomorrow. And so we might have it set up for the Robert Meyer Burnett recorded video that we'll record Wednesday night. I think it should be done, and if not, it'll definitely be for the next stream. So once that's set up, we'll have a wider shot that shows a little bit more of the studio. So you'll see some of the banners that hang down in front of our table that are Game of Thrones. And so, but yeah, it's really cool. There's a channel, and I'll send you a link to it, Nikki, about the building of the Death Star panels, and I just followed it to the T. I literally I got all the stuff online, and then went to the local hardware store and got the wood, a 1x2 wood, and we measured it and cut it, and not that hard. It's time consuming though. So hopefully it'll look good. The goal is to look up in a month and have it really look like a real studio, like when we're sitting and having conversations. And then as we grow our channel, I want to get to the point where we're big enough where it makes sense to say, hey, if we want to have somebody that lives in an area that makes sense to fly out, we fly them out and we have them in person as a guest. So we have them in town for a day or two and put them up in the hotel, let them have a good time, and have them come do a show or two on a smaller scale than what you saw, like when the crew went out in Vegas and they used that studio, right? So, but
I love it. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, so fingers crossed we'll have it. You'll see some Death Star panels when the plan is to have the recorded video with Robert Meyer Burnett. We'll record Wednesday night and hopefully have it done by Friday. And then I really want to hear your guys' feedback on what you thought about the video. And so it's going to be a conversation around some of the things you've heard him talk about before, but around where we think all this is going in terms of filmmaking and what we want to see. And so hopefully it'll be something worthwhile. I really appreciate him agreeing to do that. So the plan is right now he's agreed to Wednesday. So that's what we're going to do. So we're at the 2-hour mark. I know everybody's got the rest of their week going. I appreciate the people that have stopped by tonight, and I know we've been inconsistent with, with the streaming. So hopefully we'll get back to it, and we got a couple of videos out the last couple of days. If you want to catch up on Henry Cavill and the Highlander reboot and Warhammer 40K, I thought we did a decent video on that. And then all of our House of the Dragon content. Anytime we see footage or information about the filming, we try to put that out and just comment on it and talk about what we like about what we're seeing and our thoughts about where it's going. And so we have some of those videos out. And I will have an Equalizer 3 spoiler review. Probably will be recorded Wednesday as well and put out on Friday. So look for some content coming out from us later in the week. And really appreciate you guys stopping in tonight. Caleb, thanks, buddy, man. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. We need to get you in town and just do a panel where we just talk about Aegon and Maegor the Cruel. And
well, it's funny you say that. So we've got a Game of a lore video coming out, and I've already written the script, but it's going to be on House Dane, the Swords of the Morning. So it's going to be probably about 6-7 minutes, a little bit of lore and history on House Dane.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
My favorite house of Dorne.
Nikki, you missed out right before we go. We've got autographed cards, so I'm going to send you something too, Nikki, because we have Star Wars fans in here tonight. And we did talk about Star Wars. I usually don't, but we talked about Star Wars tonight quite a bit. And that's okay. That's okay, Sterling. Sterling says,
what's up?
Sorry, could come on. That's all right. Hey, you got a pregnant wife, man. You have to take care of your wife.
It's almost like there's a priority or something.
Yeah. It's Who would have thought you'd be responsible? But Nikki, so I'm gonna get with you offline. I've got some Game of Thrones autograph cards. Edmure Tully, High Sparrow, Craster. So I'll get with you and let you choose. And for the Star Wars people out there, we got some Star Wars stuff coming that we're gonna be giving away. Hopefully some stuff you guys will think are pretty good. So I actually ordered something that will be arriving in October that was from the event that John Kakaza attended when he showed some of the Return of the Jedi vintage stuff. That was the newer stuff, but it says Return of the Jedi, so it looks vintage.
Okay.
I ordered some of that stuff that is arriving in October. So I'm going to give one of those.
This isn't Dave Filoni's Ahsoka body pillow he has.
No, this is this is the thing that kind of had like 4 or 5 figures, like a collection. In a Return of the Jedi box, it had Mon Mothma.
Yes.
So Sterling says. So you said he knows the only time I'm going to talk about Star Wars is when he's not here. But anyway, we'll we're look. I'm going to cover some stuff around Ahsoka, but let's get to the end because I think there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about when it's over. And
exactly.
So we'll cover it then. I'm not going to do a video on it before the 8 episodes are done. So I am giving away a Hot Toys if it's good. That was what I said, right, Caleb? I said if we feel like
you said if
Ahsoka is good,
if people think it's good,
right?
So I think it's going to depend on how many people,
right? So we'll see. We'll get to the end and we'll look at several channels and that we all watch and support and we'll get a consensus and maybe giving away Ahsoka. So
seems to be a weird consensus right now.
It is, but I think it'll be a little bit more clear by the end.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Well, I am going to get out of here. Caleb, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody that showed up in chat tonight on my inconsistent stream time. I really appreciate it. And anybody that hadn't subscribed, go subscribe to the channel. We're constantly trying to put out content that we're interested in. Because if we're not interested in it, then what's the point of doing it? So we start there, and then we hope that people like it. And so we really appreciate the support. And this was our first night monetized. And so we appreciate all the support you guys gave us tonight. And we will be back this week. Everybody have a great one. See ya.
Bye.